In the heart of the West African plains lies the village of Abako, known for its sacred and powerful tradition, the talking drum. It was not just an instrument to play music, but a living entity, an extension of the village's spirit, one that carried the stories of the ancestors and communicated with the gods. For generations, this drum had been cared for by the village's most skilled drummer, a man named Kofi. Kofi's hands were said to move like lightning, capturing the rhythms of the earth, the winds, the water, and the very pulse of the community. He was a master, chosen by the elders to inherit the sacred task of playing the talking drum. The drum was central to the village's traditions, playing a vital role in the rituals of birth, death, harvest, and celebration. It was said that when the drum spoke, the ancestors listened, and the gods heard. The drum's rhythm could summon rain, announce the arrival of strangers, and even call the spirits of the past to offer counsel. But no one could have foreseen that the sacred bond between Kofi and the drum would be broken, and that a betrayal would ripple through the very soul of the village. One day, while visiting a bustling market, Kofi met a foreign merchant named Nuru. Nuru spoke of riches, gold, jewels, and treasures beyond imagination, all hidden deep in the hills across the river. The promise of wealth sparkled in Kofi's eyes. The village had always struggled to make ends meet. And Kofi, driven by a desire to provide more for his people, began to dream of the golden treasures Nuru spoke of. Nuru, ever the skilled manipulator, spoke of how the villagers could be enriched with the gold they would find. He promised Kofi that with enough riches, the village could prosper beyond measure. But he also whispered words that fed Kofi's inner greed. There is no need for the sacred drum if wealth can speak louder than tradition, he said. And so, temptation found its way into Kofi's heart, whispering dark promises of power. He began to consider the thought of betraying the sacred legacy for the glitter of gold. Little by little, he let the voice of greed drown out the rhythm of his ancestors. That night, under the cover of darkness, Kofi made a fateful decision. He left the safety of his home and quietly made his way to the sacred drum. With trembling hands, he took the drum and walked away from the village. The ancient rhythm of the drum beat in his heart, but his mind was filled with visions of riches. The next morning, the elders awoke to find the talking drum gone. The village was shaken. The elders, sensing something terrible had occurred, gathered in haste to search for the sacred drum. But it was too late. The villagers were frantic, but no one could find Kofi or the drum. It was said that in times of great betrayal, the talking drum would cry, its sorrowful tears reverberating through the very land, calling for the return of the lost rhythm. That night, as the moon rose high above Abako, a strange sound echoed across the village. The drum, though far away, began to cry. Its mournful beats, heavy with sorrow and betrayal, could be heard in every corner of the village. The rhythm was off, jagged, no longer the smooth, comforting pulse it once was. It was a warning, a cry for redemption. Kofi, hearing the drum's cry, felt a deep sense of guilt seep into his soul. But it was too late. He had already made his choice. As the drum cried out, the village began to experience the first signs of its curse. The crops withered, the river ran dry, and the people grew sick. The land itself seemed to mourn the loss of the sacred rhythm. After days of wandering in shame, Kofi returned to the village. The villagers gathered around him, their faces filled with anger and sorrow. The elders stepped forward, their eyes sad but resolute. Kofi fell to his knees, holding the drum close to his chest. "I sought riches, but I lost what mattered most," he confessed. "The drum has cried, and now it is up to me to restore what I have taken." With the drum returned, Kofi led the villagers in a ceremony to restore balance. Together, they prayed to the ancestors, asking for forgiveness. Slowly, the land began to heal. The crops returned, the river flowed once more, and the people's spirits lifted. But the drum's cries were not forgotten. From that day forward, Kofi became the village's guardian of the talking drum. He had learned the hard way that greed and betrayal come at a great cost. The village, though restored, was never the same. The elders warned the younger generations never to forget the lesson of the drum, that wealth is fleeting, but heritage and community are eternal. And so, the talking drum no longer cried. Its rhythm was steady, once more in harmony with the heartbeat of the village. But every night, as it echoed into the quiet darkness, it reminded the people of Abako that the spirits of the past must never be betrayed for the fleeting temptations of gold. And thus, the legacy of the talking drum was restored, its story etched into the hearts of all who heard its beat.